E-permitting is coming to Barnstable. The town will soon study environmental conditions at the West Barnstable shooting range, and town council postpones voting on a regulation to control the use of certain fertilizers. These stories and more on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Friday, November 7th, 2014. I'm Sarah Mantle. Anyone applying for town permits will soon be able to file an application online. Town Council last night approved a 5-year contract with Viewpoint to run the town's e-permitting system. Assistant Town Manager Mark L. says e-permitting has been a priority for town officials.
They recognize the need to move forward with these sorts of opportunities for our residents and our businesses. And, it's in our continued efforts to gain efficiencies in our permitting processes and improve customer service. Our Information Technologies Division, Dan Wood and Lori Pearson, as well as their respective staffs, have evaluated the proposals from several vendors for the installation, implementation, and maintenance of e-permitting software. The implementation of e-permitting has been a priority for the manager's office, as well as the council, and with the support of our divisions, we're able to bring this forward to you. The e-permitting program will allow our citizens and businesses to submit digital permit applications 24/7 through a web portal wherever they have internet access. We anticipate the implementation process to take 8 to 10 months, but I'll leave any of that discussion certainly to Dan, Lori, and Carl to firm that up. But that's the time frame that we believe we're looking at to move forward with this effort. We commenced review of vendors initially. Really, we asked our Information Technologies Department to go out and look statewide at what was occurring. We also coordinated with the county effort to understand what they were doing with other communities on Cape Cod.
Elle says the e-permitting software offered by Viewpoint is written and ready to go. Carl Anderson of Viewpoint talked about the e-permitting features that would be offered.
As any member within the town, as far as homeowner, contractor, local business, or utility, could register to take advantage of these solutions. As a homeowner, I would register. I would merely log in, and from the initial page, I get to see any of my unsubmitted applications where I have not met the requirements of the town for my submission. I don't have my architectural plan. I don't have my affidavit from my neighbor. I don't, whatever those conditions may be, as well as any permits with a balance due. And I can also track any of my permits here as well to see inspection results, to see where it is in the review process, what department is left to approve this, so that I know where I'm at and when I'll get my permit and be able to start work.
The council voted 11-1 in favor of the move. Officials expect e-permitting to be operational within the next 8 to 10 months. The council voted to postpone a vote on a proposed fertilizer regulation. The regulation would control the use of lawn fertilizer that contains phosphorus and nitrogen. Phil Boudreau, chair of the Citizens Advisory Committee, talked in detail about that regulation.
Our proposed regulation is based largely on the model ordinance prepared by the Cape Cod Commission as a part of its DCPC. The Commission's model ordinance was built around the University of Massachusetts' best management practices for turf, which is apparently the gold standard in Massachusetts. It includes limits on the use of lawn fertilizers through a combination of education, certification of professional applicators, and the standardization and regulation of application practices. Both the model ordinance and our ordinance seek to regulate only fertilizer for turf. We are not seeking to regulate fertilizers on plants, on gardens, nothing to do with the commercial agriculture whatsoever. Professional applicators would be required to be certified and to apply lawn fertilizers in accordance with the UMass BMPs, or best management practices. Homeowners applying fertilizer on their own would be required to adhere to specific limits, methods, and timing of application, which are based on the BMPs though, but which are spelled out in more detail given the presumed difference in knowledge of the subject between professional applicators and the average homeowner. Now, how does our ordinance differ from the Commission's model ordinance? We did modify slightly the single fertilizer application limit from 1 pound, as suggested, of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet to 0.9 pounds. We also shortened the application season. Now, the Cape Cod Commission had posed April 15th to November 12th. We shortened that a little earlier, March 31st, but much earlier closing time, October 1st. These changes weren't made in a vacuum, however. They were made in accordance with recommendations specifically set forth in the BMPs for nitrogen-sensitive areas such as ours. We also added 2 additional requirements, which we pulled from the proposed state fertilizer regulations. These would require professional applicators to keep records of their application practices, and retailers to separate their products containing phosphorus from those that don't, and adding signage posting specific warnings for those phosphorus products where those are being sold.
After much debate, the item was continued to the next Town Council meeting. Town Council voted to approve spending $25,000 to conduct an environmental assessment at the West Barnstable shooting range. DPW Director Dan Santos says the assessment would be comprehensive.
This appropriation request is for the preliminary or initial assessment of lead that is in and around the shooting range. We have put together a scope of work and have a proposal from a team of experts. In fact, they're probably the foremost experts in this work in the country. And we put together a team because one of the individuals is an expert in environmental operation of ranges. So he designs and evaluates ranges from an environmental standpoint as well as a safety portion of the operational standpoint. The other company are experts in the evaluation, the environmental evaluation, assessment and remediation and cleanup of lead. They have proprietary technologies for cleanup of lead. They recover lead, which they can then sell, and we can offset the cost of some of these remediations that may be required. Between them, these companies have hundreds of sites that they've worked on and are highly recommended by both the EPA and our own Department of Environmental Protection. The approach to this, and again, as I said, it's an initial preliminary. You need to address environmental studies in a very a thoughtful progression of understanding the extent of the issue.
And the council voted unanimously to approve that item. The Cape Cod Rail Trail will someday extend into Barnstable. Thursday night, council accepted community preservation land and easement conveyances and a grant of conservation restrictions that will pave the way for the bike trail extension into Barnstable. CPC Chair Lindsay Council describes the goals and objectives.
The goal is for this project in Barnstable is to really partner with the town of Yarmouth to advance the Cape Cod Rail Trail Extension project to connect the Yarmouth Higgins Kroll Road trailhead to Mary Dunn Road in Barnstable. And the objectives of the project is to design a bridge of our own, that's the Willow Street Bridge, and design it over the railroad as well, and that'll direct the alignment through Yarmouth into Barnstable. Here is the overall alignment of our project. As you can see, we come here from Higgins Kroll Road, and then we are going across the Fish and Wildlife property to our parking lot here. We have a couple of alternatives. We're considering going westerly down through the Independence Drive area, then possibly north to along the highway on town-owned or controlled property, and then back out to the golf course, which is in here. Then ultimately it would link to the service road and continue west from there.
Design is nearly complete for the rail trail extension from Dennis through Yarmouth, and the project is included in the state and federal transportation improvement plans. If all goes well, we could see a bike trail extension in Barnstable by 2018. Well, be sure to tune in to our hour-long news program Barnstable this morning, weekdays at 7 a.m. On Monday's show, we will chat with Town Manager Tom Lynch. We'll talk with Superintendent of Schools Dr. Mary Schakowsky. Plus, we'll have all the news and information you need. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mannel.